2017 has not been a good year for Yemen. For me, it was the year I returned to my home country. In January, after having worked and studied abroad for 4 years, I arrived at Aden Airport. Of course, I knew that there is a war in my country for almost 3 years. But I was still completely shocked by what I saw. The building of the airport was destroyed, burned planes all around, tanks were roaming around the airstrip. On the way back to Sana'a, I was extremely horrified by the damaged buildings, hotels, houses, school and roads. It was the first time for me to travel from Aden to Sana'a, not being able to go through my home city Taz. For almost 3 years, the city where I was born and lived my best days is living unmerciful conflict. However, everything I saw on this 12 hours journey was nothing compared to what I experienced and heard since I joined Care International. I came back to help my people, and I'm seeing the miserable impact this war has had on each and every Yemeni. And the ugly truth is that we rarely watch or read about this in the media. For months, my new colleague Hind and myself did everything we could to make the voices of people in Yemen louder and draw the world's attention toward this biggest humanitarian crisis in the world, which even before the war has been the poorest country in the Middle East. In January 2017, the situation in Yemen was already critical. Around 18 million Yemeni were in need for humanitarian assistance. That means more than half of the entire population of Yemen. A huge number of people didn't have access to safe and clean water. Garbage was covering the streets and villages. All employees in the public sector has not received their salaries for several months. In the end of April, the cholera broke out and started to spread very fast. 22 out of 23 governorates were affected. Around 5,000 to 6,000 new cases were being reported on a daily basis. I remember moving around with my camera in the hospitals, where patients were lying down on the corridors. Old and young men, women, boys and girls, they were so weak and they couldn't even say a word. I felt so bad for those patients, but I also felt angry about this war, that those poor people had to experience such incredible pain. Iman was the first cholera case I met. She was unable even to open her eyes. Her grandma was sitting next to her, crying, tears running down her face. She was asking the doctor whether her little girl will be able to continue to live. Adam was brought to the hospital very late. His parents kept him at home for more than 24 hours. They were trying to cure him using home remedies. The child was unconscious, waiting for the overwhelmed doctors to save his life. My heart was bleeding that I can do nothing for him apart from sharing his story with the world. Bushra, a displaced girl, moved with her family looking for a way to survive the war. Although she did not speak, her eyes seemed to send millions of questions to all conflict parties and to the whole world. Isn't that enough? Karima helplessly had to watch her son die in front of her eyes. She didn't have the money to take him to the hospital. She couldn't even feed him with a piece of bread. Within 6 hours of severe diarrhea, he passed away in the one room they called home and amongst his family. This war has been going for almost 3 years. Those stories are only few amongst so many, and even for myself and my colleagues, the war has made our lives difficult. We queue for hours to get petrol. We often have no electricity and heating. many of us struggle to feed their families as prices of food and medications are higher than ever. However, we strongly believe that our team of 174 in Aden, Hajjah, Amran, and Turba and other places in the country can change people's lives. We work tirelessly to spread hope and empower the society to stay strong. A new year is starting. The wishes of last year haven't come true yet. We are still waiting for peace. Now, the number of people in need has increased to 22 million. A new disease called diphtheria is spreading, and people feel less safe as the conflict is escalating. Convincing people that tomorrow is better has become a very hard job. My biggest wish for 2018 is peace. Only peace can help this whole nation to stand up again. Next year, I wish to talk about how the peace has saved the lives of Yemenis and interview displaced people after they return to their homes. I want to tell about my trips to Taiz, Hodeidah, and Aden, about the crowded airport of Sana'a, about less patients in the hospitals and more children in schools, about a society that turned a new page full of tolerance and passion to build new Yemen. And I wish the world this time will pay more attention not only to Yemen, but also to other forgotten crises on this planet, because the more we believe in humanity, the less conflicts and hatred will take over.